Hello peeps and welcome to another video. I am sitting on the stair. I have I think a Santa Claus in my head, but I need to have a little talk with you. So today I just found out that my appointment to see my doctor for my face surgery, it should have been this month, next week actually, on the 20th. But it got annulled because my doctor scheduled a surgery that can be pushed. So now I have to wait another 2 months for my appointment. And meanwhile, my face, it's really bad. Last night I couldn't sleep because I had a lot of pain. And this area right here, it's in a lot more pain that it usually is. So I have a spot right here that I can touch myself, and if you can see my face, my skin around my cheek, it's really red, and it's not just red, but it's inflamed. I think you can see that this part of my face is a little bit more pronounced than it usually is. So yeah, unfortunately I can go to my doctor's appointment, but I had to change the entire travel schedule for February. And I was talking with my best friend because she's the one who will come with me in this journey this time. Let's go to my doctor's appointment and have a girls trip also, because we'll have to spend 3 days in Bucharest, which is nice because this time I don't have to go to Germany, which is good for me because I don't like going to Germany. I don't have anything with Germany. It's just after so many years I'm sick of it. So I will go to Bucharest to talk with my doctor about this thing. And I was talking with my friend and I was like, well, we should go with a plane. It's easy, it's a bit easier. So I will go to Cluj from Târgu Mureș. I will go to Cluj, and from Cluj we'll take the plane and go to Bucharest. If only things would be this easy. So it sounds easy on the paper, it's really easy on the paper, but actually, let me tell you, there is no direct flight on that date. There is no direct flight between Cluj to Bucharest. So the flight will be Cluj, London, Lane on Luton, and from Luton we have to fly to Bucharest, and we'll have 4 hours in London to spend doing whatever you want to. And if you think that coming back home from Bucharest to Cluj will be better, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not. We have to go to Bucharest. From Otopeni, we have to fly to Frankfurt, spend 7 hours in Frankfurt, and then from Frankfurt go to Cluj. Why? So if you have two airports, two big international airports, why can't you have a direct flight in between two of your biggest cities in the country? I don't get it. I can't get it. And this story just reminds me of one of the weirdest Christmases in my life. So I was in college. It was my first year of college, and I was in Cluj, and I needed to go to Sibiu, where my father will come and pick me up. So because it was the 23rd and there was nothing going to Sibiu anymore, I decided to book a plane ticket. And let me tell you, I didn't check. So my plane left on 23rd and got to Sibiu on 24th at midnight. Not the midnight from 23rd to 24th, but the midnight between 24th and 25th. So it was almost Christmas when I got home, because I flight from Cluj to Frankfurt, from Frankfurt to London, from London to Istanbul, and from Istanbul to Munich and then Sibiu. And I was like, what the hell? I didn't see it. I see it on the day that I go and check in my luggage. That was the moment when I realized that I did it. And now I will have to spend 2 days in airports, staying in Munich for 6 hours, staying in London for 3 hours, spending 2 hours in Istanbul, and it was so it was really hectic. And my luggage, let me tell you, my luggage get home on the day that my winter break was done. So 1 week and a half later, I got my luggage. I get my luggage, which was really weird. And I thinking about, it's not the fact that I have to go through, I don't know, from Cluj to London. I love London. And from Bucharest to Frankfurt. I love Frankfurt. It's a beautiful city and I love spending time there. The problem, my problem, is the fact that these days Wizz Air and Lufthansa, and there are a lot of other plane companies that are just so disrespectful to their clients, and they are annulling flights. And I'm like, well, I have to be on my doctor's appointment, and yes, it's in the evening, but still I have to be there. And what if we are flying to London and they don't have a flight, and they are just pushing us backwards and backwards, and we can fly in the same day, and we have to be in London for how many days? I don't know, because I heard a lot of stories with people being like, well, I spent 2 more days in London because there was no flight from Luton to wherever the place that they needed to go. And I'm scared that that will may happen. So I think, and it pains me to say that I'll have to take the car. I have to drive from Cluj to Bucharest. And I'm scared and I'm stressed and I don't want that. So I have to figure out the logistic of everything. I have to figure out. I have to find a way that I can go to my doctor's appointment without me being scared out of my mind driving a car. And it's not driving that scares me, it's driving stick that scares me. And on such a long journey, I don't like it at all. So yeah, everything would be easier if I will have a automatic car at my disposal and do whatever I want. But unfortunately, at this time, I don't have a car. Yeah, now I'm gonna go and put some ice patch onto my cheek because it's really bad and it's keep on hurting me. And I can feel it tingling really close to my eyes. So before my eyes start doing weird shit, I want to ice patch it and make sure that everything is fine. So yeah, by the way, because of this, so in the morning, because of the pain, I couldn't do my massage properly. I did it for like 3 minutes instead of 5 or more than 5 that I actually do these days. But I had to cut it short because the pain was really bad. So for 1 to 10 scale, I think it was around an 8, and that's not normal, not for me. So yeah, I'm gonna go patch my face with some ice and hopefully see you in the afternoon when, fortunately, hopefully, I will feel better. So it's been a couple of hours. I iced my face. It's not better, it's not worse, it's still the same. I have vesicles on my tongue, and I guess that's the reason why it kind of aggravated me, and I feel a little bit more pain than usual, is because usually when these vesicles appear on my tongue, my face is getting worse. So for whatever the reason, my camera decided to don't record sound for the next part of the video, but I will try to narrate at best as I can and explain to you a little bit about what Ramsay Hunt is. So I will talk mainly about Ramsay Hunt type 2 because that's what I was diagnosed with, and also that is what I did my degree, diploma, Anyway, I did a case study on Ramsay Hunt because I needed to in university, and I will base this part of the video on that case study. So, Ramsay Hunt syndrome type 2 is also called herpes zoster oticus. Is the reactivation of herpes zoster in the geniculate ganglions. It has a variable presentation which may include a lower motor neuron lesion of the facial nerve and herpes blisters that appear in the face or the neck area. But all the nerves that communicate with the facial nerve can be implicated in Ramsay Hunt syndrome. That may include nerves as 5, 8, 9, 10, and cervical nerves at C2, C3, or C4. The cause of Ramsay Hunt syndrome is varicella zoster virus, or VZV. The primary VZV infections that we are most familiar with is what produces chickenpox. In general, after the chickenpox are gone, the virus can essentially go to sleep inside the geniculate ganglions, and then it can be reactivated. Once reactivated, the infection can spread throughout dermatomes. The risk factors for reactivations are advancing in age and immunosuppression. In talking about peripheral facial neuropathy, it's important to mention that 70% of the cases are due to Bell's palsy. That's what's called idiopathic facial palsies. So when we don't know exactly what caused it, we say it's Bell's palsy, and that's most cases. However, in about 5 to 18% of the cases, it's caused by Ramsay Hunt syndrome or herpes zoster oticus. So this is actually the second most common cause for non-traumatic peripheral facial palsies. The facial paralysis that we can see in Ramsay Hunt syndrome is generally more severe than in Bell's palsy, and Bell's palsy it's actually caused by a different virus known as Heros simplex virus. In addition to facial paralysis, Ramsay Hunt syndrome's other symptoms include hearing loss, tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears, vertigo, which is a specific kind of dizziness, and also ear pain. There are vesicles that appear on the skin that will proceed or present simultaneously with the facial paralysis, but sometimes this came in a delay way. Can have facial paralysis first, and then days or weeks later you can start to see those vesicles forming. The diagnosis of Ramsay Hunt syndrome is mainly clinical, and we're looking for a combination of ear pain, small vesicles on the outer ear or the oral mucosa or inside the mouth as the tongue, and of course facial palsy. Sometimes we see one or two of these signs or symptoms, not necessarily all three of them. You can confirm the diagnosis of Ramsay Hunt by isolating and culturing the varicella zoster virus from the vesicular fluid or by detecting viral DNA using PCR analysis. If we are doing an MRI study of a patient with Ramsay Hunt syndrome who has facial paralysis, oftentimes there is a enhancement of the nerve in the intratemporal portion of the facial nerve. What that means is the portion of the facial nerve that's running through the bone of the skull is inflamed. When it comes to the treatment, it mainly contains of antiviral medication and steroids, but it's important to give those medication early, usually within the first 3 days of the paralysis. That improves the overall progressions. If their medications are given much later, it really doesn't have so much as of a benefit. There is a lack of high quality randomized controlled perspective trials on this condition. However, a lot of the data comes from case studies and retrospective reviews that still is showing that there is a benefit overall to steroids and antiviral treatment if give it in time. The prognosis for facial recovery, it's not so good, unfortunately. So facial nerve recovery is generally worse in Ramsay-Hunt syndrome compared to Bell's palsy. Significant factor for poor progression are a lack of nerve excitability, complete paralysis at the offset of the condition, and age over 50. It's good to know that the total recovery or recovery with only slight sequela is obtained in over 80% of the patients who received treatment before the 72-hour mark of Ramsay-Hunt syndrome onset. Now let's look at House-Brackman facial paralysis scale, because when you look at someone with facial paralysis, it's good to put them in a category of grade of paralysis, and that helps us determine how severe the paralysis is, what other consequences there are of the paralysis, and just the overall prognosis. Now, looking at the House-Brackman scale, we observe that basically we have 6 grades, when grade 1 is normal facial function and grade 6 is absolute total paralysis, no movement at all. That is leaving us with grades from 2 to 5, and I will insert a table that you can read a little bit better, but the big difference is in the eye region. So if grade 2 comes with eye closure with light effort, grade 4 come with incomplete eye closure, and grade 3 also come with closure only with strong effort. When it comes to my Ramsay-Hunt and my facial paralysis, my problem is only with my upper lip, half of my upper lip and half of my cheek. And that is that, friends. We've been through this Ramsay-Hunt explanation. I hope I didn't bore you too much. Without being said, thank you so much for watching another video. Hope I didn't bore you too much, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye, peeps.